You are watching Xirtus.
It's meme magic, guys. If you can connect
No,
all
no.
the dots because
Honestly, though,
everything is connected.
I
So
believe in such delicious irony where it's like the one guy that would be the right fit would be the last person you fucking want. And I identify with that sometimes because, like, like I've identified with certain things that I don't feel I deserve. Like I'm just another asshole. Like I didn't live a saintly life as a child or whatever. Like I kind of fell into just, I don't know, trying to be aligned, by completely by accident. And I'm like, at first I'm like kind of bitter about it. I'm like, good people should like be put onto this stuff before anything. But then I'm like, no, I think it does make more sense in a visceral way that it would be ironic like that.
I was
Where
giving this
like,
a lot of thought before the show, and with Trump, when it comes to Trump, like there's so many things where you can look at it a way where you either you believe that he didn't get shot really, and that his ear was like made up, or you can look at it like he's controlled opposition or whatever. But
We're like, why do
at
you
the
cut
root
to
of
me for
it,
that? I know
like
what you're thinking.
so at the root of it, for me, like I don't know, like what if it's almost like people are so used to getting somebody that isn't walking the walk and talking the talk that like all it would take is for somebody to actually just want to kind of help out your country and be about that, for everybody to lose their minds because they're so used to getting cucked by the world, that what if he's just a guy that wants to be a good president and it's just that straightforward,
even if he is a
and like all
scumbag,
of this
even if
is
he is a
surrounds
bad
it.
person.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really. Like if his intention is to like make a legacy for himself, he's a bragger, like he's braggadocious and he just wants to do a good job so everybody remembers him kindly. Like it doesn't really matter. Like if his intention is just to make the country a better place and make the world more peaceful through it so he can like look like a badass, let him. Like I just don't get why we all have to worry about him
See,
so
that's what
much. And
concerns
like
me. That doesn't that sound like Andrew? Doesn't that sound like a little altruistic to you or to
Well, he's doing it
me?
for glory. He's
well,
doing it for
it's
pride,
he's
which is a sin.
like Gunwu was saying, the winners write history. He's not writing it after the fact. He's writing it as he's doing it. He's improvising, so he's one step ahead. And like because like Chris was saying, he's playing the game. He's a player. He's not being reactive. He's like creating like everything as it's happening for himself. He's manifesting. He's doing the Oprah secret shit.
Yeah,
Which is scary to know that billionaires like who have access to all these resources are actually schooled on like esoteric shit. That's what tells me it's
totally.
like, dude, if they even show a hint of like being kind of into it, I'm like, that's really suspicious. I mean, it's one thing where like regular people can say, oh yeah, I manifested and I managed to pay off my college debt sooner than I would have ever imagined or whatever. But then you think of billionaires doing stuff like that where it's practicing literally radical self-discipline, like not just in a physical element where it's like you're controlling your actions, but you somehow master your thought patterns and your emotional reactions to things or your emotional responses to things. And if you're that kind of person with billions of dollars, like what the fuck can you do? Like that
But
is
that's
kind of
how they
scary.
got there. That's
Exactly.
exactly how they got there. Like this is that like ancient knowledge that the elites have always had access to, like manifesting and that whole thing. Even the founding fathers knew it. That's why they were like, heck, that's what those guys did. That's how they all got into power. We're about to put this shit ink to paper and make this stuff for ourselves. We declared our independence on July 4th, 1776, but the war wasn't won for many, many years later. So, you know, it's yeah, it's and there is a lot of power in putting things in writing. That's another reason why they kept literacy secret from the public for so long, because being able to transmit information not just to other people but to higher planes of existence is how you like become that sort of enlightened.
I think what would really kind of allowed people like literacy levels like what stemmed against people's ability to read and write to be able to awaken, I guess, on a metaphysical level like of self-perception would be to like, because it was printing. It was the release of like printing technology, because I think once you have the ability to print and disseminate like text across like many regions very, very, very quickly, you could probably control collective perception of reality within like not even 2 generations. You know, like it would be really easy. Like if you controlled the system of printing and disseminating that information, you could set the basis of like whatever the fuck world you want. And I think they knew that too when they were kind of
But
like,
it's more
Yes,
open source than it was
exactly.
before, so that it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, that meme magic. That's how we ended up here, because we have the internet and they memed Trump into the presidency. Andreas is like an expert on the subject. So
Nah.
no,
I
but
have
yeah,
no
for
idea
sure.
what
Come
you're
on,
talking about.
all right, get out of here. All right.
I like this group that you guys have, 8 p.m. There's some interesting things going on in there too.
The Anya Taylor-Joy fan club.
The economy is ultimately our material relationship with each other and the rest of the living world. We have to decide whether we want the relationship to be based on extraction, exploitation, or on reciprocity and care. You know.
I think that's too materially focused. It's not a good.
Yeah. Debunk. Go for it.
But that's the being able to put it on paper philosophy. You know, it's like, can you
Pedro. Gotta love him.
Yeah, I don't think the guys who post like the pro-Nazi stuff in that group are actually like Nazis. You know, I think they just do it purely just to piss
I think
off
they were
the
just
people.
Well, I can't blame
just some
vaccinations
4chaners,
here
dude.
on YouTube, and I'm not
You
going
think they're
to.
just trolls? I think that they are genuinely they there is a part of themselves that does think that they are genetically superior to other people based on the circumstances of their birth.
But don't you think that's out of like an inferiority complex that started
Oh,
before that?
Wait, can I
yeah,
ask
Pink
something?
Floyd.
What happens if you were to like teach Nazis like how to manifest, basically? Like what happens if you teach Nazis
They
how to
already
master
do.
Hence
Alright.
the symbolism.
Okay.
I mean, I think that I think that Miguel Sereno is not.
The Soul Society. You know how like the V2 rocket was made? Fucking, they got...
Yeah, and also, how do you think we got Adderall?
I'm just putting you up there because you're
No,
right.
no,
I was
no,
gonna
no.
put up. I was gonna put up Miguel Sereno though because Miguel Sereno always.
Me and Andreas had an sorry,
It's Andreas and I. Just kidding.
Yeah, Andreas and I had an episode about this
Be
long
a
back
bullfan.
about the German folklore about a Rapunzel being based in real life. What's it?
Samson?
What's the Germans in the Third Reich called them the real Damen, where these ladies that would never cut their hair, or they were forced to not cut their hair, and their hair was used as such technically antennas for a higher realm, right? And they would put them like in like castle towers, and they would just like meditate in silence for in solitude for like however long. And this is apparently like aliens or whatever the fuck that's out there. Most likely demons.
She's a baddie,
essentially,
by the way.
like,
Well, don't be so moony about it. It's probably the Pleiades. Like they're talking to spirits from the Pleiades, right?
Right, whatever. But they gave the Germans schematics for the V2 rocket this way.
And for vacuum cleaners and for dishwashers. I mean, like to be fair, they did a lot of good
Microwaves, infrared.
I want to
lot-
know what the Sikhs have invented, because they don't cut their hair either.
I think
I mean,
gunpowder
Sikhs are
was
cool.
a big deal.
Sikhs have invented
Gunpowder was pure
Kundalini.
alchemy.
Sikhs do Kundalini. They invented Kundalini yoga, which is like better than HDTV if you think about it. That's like better than like one of those
Porn.
hack boxes, right? Those like cable hack boxes is like
Yeah,
Kundalini.
organic technology. I get it.
Yeah. But I do like the idea that the Vril weren't just trying to make rockets. Like, they say it like that, it sounds like they wanted to make big explosions. And it sounded more that they were interested in giving people the capacity to not need to work all day. They're like, okay, what are you doing with your day all day? You're like cleaning your house? Vacuum. You know what I mean? Like, what are you spending your nights sleeping and your days awake because you need sunlight? And you're running out of candlelight, like electricity, like all these kinds of things that just throw you off kilter, so you can do what you would choose to do rather
What the
than
Pleiadians
what you
remind me of? I mean, that honestly, I know this is it seems like it's going off track, but not really, because like, all right, so I was just thinking about Lord of the Rings, right, and ancient civilizations and shit, and because unlike a lot of other fantasy franchises or series, like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, I feel like if you told me like the world of Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, and like was like Earth 50,000 years ago, and 50,000 years ago Earth was in fact a magical world with like orcs and elves and shit, I would be like, that's not that crazy. You know, like that
Yeah.
wouldn't be terribly insane, like to imagine, because
50,000, 5,000.
We did have dragons. There's evidence for that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like if we had, you know, like giants, for example, or like I don't know.
Oh yeah,
like, just
giants, real, yeah.